All right, everyone. Good morning. So before we start, right, do you have any doubt, anything in your mind that you wanted to clear out? Any questions? What we discussed yesterday so far? Come on, guys. Yes, no. Please be interactive. This program is for you, so it would be good if you can ask questions, right? So yeah. Anything
No
to?
from my side,
All
Ravi.
right. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Mansur. All right. Okay. So let me ask this question: have any of you have configured your Appian account? Did you get your Appian account?
No.
All right. Can you please sign up in your Appian community? Let me give you the. So I have listed in the chat. Can you just go and create your credentials? Okay. So by creating the credentials, you can use two email address, like either your own email address or your company's email address. Now, what's the difference between these two? If you create with your personal email address, which is okay, you can do that. However, if you use your company's email address, right, then your account will be kind of your professional account, right? And if your company is part of Appian, if they are partner of our Appian, right, then you will get 50% discount on your certifications as well, because every certification costs $200. And if your company is a partner of Appian, then you will have to pay only $100. Okay. So on you, how you would like to create your account on Appian. So once you will do that, let me know. Then we can proceed for this. How to set up an account. I mean, this thing. Sorry, community addition to practice. Okay. So please go and sign up on that link that I share in Appian community. Okay. Let me know if you have any issues. So do you guys want to do it right away, or do you guys want me to start with the Appian discussion and then you can do it later? And let me know if you face any issues.
We can create later, I guess.
Yeah, okay, fine. That's fine with me. Oh, sorry, let me give you the proper one. That was only for try this URL, okay? Community.appian.com. Okay. All right. Second one. All right. Let me share my screen. You guys can see it?
Yes.
Okay. So once you will hit that the URL that I gave you, you will be landing on this page. Here you can go and you can do the sign up, sign in and register. Please do register yourself, and then you will get an option for having your own community editions where you can go and practice. Once you will do that, you will receive an email for your community editions URL. You will also given the option of selecting the area or like country wise from India or US. So try to use the wherever you are available, like in India or US, because you can select that option. Now, once you will get your community edition, Appian, you will be able to access the Appian site, or maybe say Appian Shoots, where you can go and do the development. Now, today we'll talk about the Appian Shoot, how it looks like, and what are the basic sites it has. Okay. So basically, every Appian, come on. So basically, every Appian has multiple shoots option. If you see, this is the base URL. This is the base URL, and then after we have shoot, and then this is going to be your relative path for your different pages. So right now you can see it's called design. Design is for the developers, where you can go and you can do the whole development. We'll come to this page and we'll talk about it. The first thing that we should know about Appian Shoot is called tempo. So this was the very basic, the first front end for the end users, where they can go and interact with the application that as a developer you have built. So end user will used to land on this page and take that actions, whatever the application we have built for them, right? So this particular sheet has 5 different tabs. Now, why this knowing all these things is important? Because when you will go as an to fill in an interview, you will have to represent yourself that you know all those things. Right? They might ask you this, what's the tempo, and just to find that you guys know it. We may not be using this more because right now we are using sites instead of this tempo, because this was a very basic. But now we are, Appian has come up with the concept of site, where we are using the sites, but this was the very first front end for the end users. Okay. Now, what are the things we can see on this page? We can see that there are 5 tabs: news, tasks, records, reports, and actions. Okay. Now, news is basically if something, if any in your environment, if anything, anyone wants to publish any kind of news, right? They can configure it, and that will be appearing here, which was very earlier use case, but now nobody is using this. But yeah, this was a news feed for them. Right. Now, let's move to the last, called actions. What you will see inside the actions? Inside the actions, you will see the list of applications. When I say list of application, it means that in one Appian environment, you can create more than one applications, right? Okay. So it's not like one Appian environment will be for one application. You can create n number of applications in your environment. Okay. So if you have access of 5 different applications like lead management system, or account opening process, or maybe customer onboarding process, if you have access of all these applications, all will be listed here inside this tab. Here you see the application. So this was one of the applications that we built for the last trainings, ABDC Bank, where we performed the action of opening an account opening process, where we were creating a new account. So all the application will be listed here, and all the action associated with those applications will be listed here. So right now you can see we have only one application, and for that there is one action which is here. If you click on that, it will start the process of your account opening process. Okay. So that's that action for you. Now let's say in the process of action, someone has triggered the action of account opening process, and then they submitted the initial request. Now that request has to go for an approval process, right? So if that goes for an approval process, and if you are a manager, right, then you have to see that task, so that you can go and approve or reject the things. Then you will see all those listed tasks under your task tab. Here you cannot segregate your tasks based on the application, because that is not available here. You can do it by deadlines, today or 7 days, but you cannot segregate your tasks based on your application. Right now, let's say there's a one task, initiate account opening process. Someone has initiated that, and then they submitted it, right? This is the task that I initiated in 1 second. So let's say maybe this thing. So I might get a task to take a decision, approve or reject, and then I can take a decision and I can finally submit it, right? So this is how we can also complete the task that was assigned to me, and which need my intervention, right? So it's not like you can only see the task that is assigned to you. You can also see the task to assign to a group, and you are a part of that group. So if you are a part of a particular group and the task is assigned to that group, then you will also be able to see that task here. Now, what's the group? Because let's say account opening process form, right, where there could be the approval process, the approval of that account opening process may go to a manager, or maybe the reviewer group, right? And in the reviewer group, there are 3 members. So the task will reach to all the 3 members. However, someone's go and accept the task first, then the task will goes away from the other 2. The only person that has accepted the task will be able to perform on that task. Okay. So all those tasks that is assigned to you, or to the group that you are a member of, you will see under a task tab, and you cannot segregate based on your application wise. Any questions so far for these three tabs?
No, Ravi.
All right. Now the other tab that we have called records. So in process of designing an application, whatever the records we will create, right? And if you want to see those records in the tempo page, we can configure that record so that all those records will be listed here. What's a record? We'll talk about it later. So if record is a right set of data where you can go and take action as well. So all those records will be listed here. If you talk about the reports, like if you want to design any graphical representation of the data, let's say for the ABTC bank, we created this one where we wanted to represent the data in the chart wise. So we can create a report and we can publish it so that it will be displayed on under my reports tab. Okay, here we can see either all of them or or by the name of the search you can also search it. Okay. So this was the very first front end for the end users. When I say end users, it means the users who is going to use the Appian application that was built. So those users were initially coming to this page and then taking the action and completing the task. Now, can any one of you tell me what demerit you see here in this tempo page? Do you see any problem of using this tempo page?
Like you said, we can't segregate the task based on the application.
Right. Right. So, all those, if I was part of multiple applications, all the task is here. I will not know if the name is clear, then okay, fine. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to, handle the task. If there are so many tasks, if you are getting in a day wise, you will have a huge list and it will be very confusing. You cannot do the priority of which task has to be completed first and all, right. You will not know because you can't segregate that. That's one of the drawback of this site, of this tempo page. Second, actions, if you have like 5 or 6 applications, all will be listed here. You have to go and filter and then do all those things. So it was not specific to the application. If you have access of 5 or 6 applications, all will be listed here. So it was your responsibility to take care of your confusion and do all those things. Okay, right. And the most important thing was that look and feel wise, it was giving a look like we are working on a tool, right? That it's a very basic interface for designer. There we cannot change these things. It will be like as it is. We have to come and see all those tasks like here. Okay, so those were the drawback of using the tempo. I wouldn't say drawback. I mean initial version of this Appian design front end which we had. So Appian has improvised and then they come up with the concept of a site where we can do all those things to us instead of doing it here to a site, and site will be of specific to an application, right? So if we have access of 5 different applications, we will have 5 different sites for that. How do we navigate to the site? You can simply go here and you can see all these things that you are seeing in the below. These are nothing but the site. Like for the ABDC bank, we have a site. So if you click on that, it will give you look and feel like that you are working on a web application. And this is what the same thing that we were doing, trying to achieve from this tempo, we will be doing it from the site. So if there are any tasks, all those tasks will be listed here. We can see the list of the customer. This is nothing but the record that we have. If you want to open a new account, we can do it from here. If you want to have some, reference data, things update, we can do it. If you want to see the dashboard that we will there, we can see it here. So all those things that we can do by using the tempo, we can also achieve it by using the site. And here we will not have to worry about the multiple applications because the site will be specific to an application. Okay, is that clear?
Yes,
Any
Ravi.
question?
In real time also, in-house users are no longer using the tempo, right? All are using now sites
I
only.
mean, most, I would say 99% companies have moved to the site now. Maybe there could have been some 1% of companies which are still using the tempo because they might have not be upgrading their Appian version, they might not be upgrading their concept, they are just using the what has built already, right? But 99% companies have moved to the sites.
Yes, understood. Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about others? Any other questions? No? All right. All right. So this things was the front end. Now let's move to the designer. So you can log in and you can see if you are getting logged in on this page, you can simply click on this grid icon to navigate. So just click on this and then say Appian Designer. Once you hit the Appian Designer, it will open the designer page for you, where as a developer you will have an access to design a new application, where you can see the multiple option. You can see there are new applications. Once you hit the new application, it will ask for the name of the application, prefix to be added, if you want to put some description, and then some predefined folders and groups to be created if you check this checkbox. So once you do that, what it will do, it will create an application for you where you can put all your objects related to your application. Okay, so here we can see all those objects created. Welcome to that. Now you see there is an option for import and export as well. These options are not enabled because you cannot do the deployment in your community editions. It won't allow to do the deployment. However, if you want to learn about the deployment, we'll talk about that. I have some screenshots created which we will be sharing. It's not that tough. It will be easy to understand step by step. I have taken the screenshot so that you can know how we do the deployment in Appian. Now on the left hand side, you see the first tab is called application, where you can see all the list of application and as a system. So what kind of user we will have in Appian? There are two kind of users. One is going to be basic user, another is going to be system administrator, right? Now in basic user also there are two kind of. One basic user is like 100% basic user, and one basic user will be as a with the development access, right? So the system admin will have access of everything. However, the basic user, which is with 100% basic user, will not have access of this page. They cannot access this design shoot. They can still access the tempo page. They can still access the site if they have access of applications, but they cannot access this page if you are a 100% basic user. However, to differentiate the developers and the system administrator, Appian has come up with the concept. They will create a user credentials for you, and then user will be as a type of basic, but they will specially mention you in the development group, so that even though you have a basic user, you will have an access of development, where you will be able to create this application, the particular objects that you need for your application, all those things. So specifically mentioned to those groups so that you can have access of development. And as a community users, we are that particular kind of. We will not see the system administrator things because we do not have a system admin access here. But to understand Appian, to learn Appian, and to create an application, we don't need a system admin. We can do it by user, basic user plus development access. Okay. Any question? And then we have second thing called objects. Inside these objects, it can you will be able to see all the objects throughout your application. Not irrespective of your application, irrespective of the application, all the objects. Let's say if I want to see how many expression rules are there in my environment, it will list all the expression rules that you have in this environment available. Okay. Now, if you want to see how many AISK connected systems are there, just check on that and it will list you the entire connected system that is available to the system will be listed here. So likewise, you can filter on the basic of your object type. The third tab is called deployment. How many deployment has been done from this to high environment, higher to this environment? You can see all those deployment scheduled here. You can see the outgoing deployment, like from this environment to other environment. If you have deployed anything, you will be listed. It will be listed here. If from some other environment, if you have deployed something here, then it will come under the incoming tab. Then it comes to a monitor. Monitor tab is used to show all the instances irrespective of the application is running in your instance, right? It will be very slow because there could be thousands or millions of instances running at the time. So it may get time to load this page, but this is what it displays. We can see this monitor respective of the applications as well. Okay, and then we have the user tab, the list of the users that we have in our system. So let me go to the application, and then inside specific to an application. So I'll go inside on the application. Here also we can see the same options. Here we have an option called build. Inside the build option, you will be able to see the list of the objects that has created for the site. And then you can also filter based on the object type. So if I say expression rule, now this are the only expression rules which is being used inside this application, not irrespective of all applications, right? It will be specific to an application. Now, if you want to see the monitor here, then it will be showcased. So here, this is the monitor window where you can see many other things. If you all the things are belongs to the system admin where they can go and check if some instances are taking much more time or something like that. But the active instances, you can simply click on the process activity here or click on this line. So just click on process activity. Here you can see the list of the instance that was created. If you remember, right, just to showcase you guys, I created one account opening process. So this is the process instance of that action that I created. And if you remember, I also clicked on the cancel. So this process instance will show what the workflow I taken. So I initiated and then I clicked on cancel. So it took this path and then completed the workflow here. If I would have proceeded, then it would have taken this path, right? But I clicked on cancel, so it took this path. So for every action that we take, a process model is going to run behind the scene, and for each process model, each instances will be running. So if I click multiple times, multiple instances will be there. So for every action, there is one process model, and every time you take an action, that number of instance will run in behind the scene. Okay, is that clear? You can also filter on your processes based on active, cancel, and all those things. So this is the designer tab for you where you will go and you will do the development. Okay, any question in this tab, in this suite design?
So Ravi, for the entire one process model and our workflow, we are having one instance, right?
No,
Running.
one process, every action we have one process model, right?
Okay.
So if you see here, right, let me so which process model it takes? Initiate account opening process, right? If you see, this is the initiate account opening process model. So this is one process model. If I hit multiple times, if I go to the action and let me go it here to the monitor. This was one instance. I'm going to click one more time and I click on cancel again. Now you see difference. One more instance got created. So process model is going to be only one. Based on that process model, it will create n number of instances, the n number of click you will do on the actions. Okay? Process model is going to remain only one. Okay, same process model. Right. Any other questions, guys, in the designer tab? No? All right. Now the other suite that will be accessible by us is called cloud database. So this cloud database where you can go and you can see the tables created for you. That is the table that we have created for our application. You can see that, like, I have created a table for this particular application for customers. We have created for accounts, and customer documents they have uploaded. So all those tables that we will be creating inside the system will be listed here inside the cloud database. And then So every time, whenever you will go and assign, right, they will assign a ID for your application. So you need to use this ID to create your objects. You see all the objects that I have created, I have used this prefix so that Appian can understand who is building what object. Now, because see, if I say get customer, right? So let's say I'm going to give the rule name is the get customer. So maybe some other application user can also create the same rule, right, name, right? Get customer. So we should always be putting a specific to application prefix so that the name should be unique. Okay, so we should be giving that prefix always. Any questions so far in the database? So in the database, yes, you can create the tables, you can create views, you can create and store procedures, all those things you can do in your database. So this database is MariaDB. Initially, it was MySQL, but later they have upgraded to the MariaDB, and it's an in-house. You don't have to, uh, you know, use the third-party database only. But if your data is already available in some other database, you can do that connection as well, and you can use those database. You don't have to use the one it comes with Appian. Okay. So any question? Okay. All right. So other navigation bar you can see the process HQ. These are all our AI. Appian RPA is another AI option control. Operation console is an again. Here, if you see the operation console, this is newly added. It just gives the access about your applications and the RPA setups that if you do. So if you have any RPA setups created, you will see able to see all those RPA setups, the robots on this tab. But as we don't have it any, we are not able to see anything. So all this robotics RPA bots we will be creating, those will be listed there. And then these are the sites that is available inside your application. Any question in your Appian shoots? No? All right. As we are not a system admin user, so we are not able to see admin console here. There is one more thing called admin console. So admin console is for the system administrator, where if you want to create a new users, you can do that. If you want to set a branding of your application, you can do that. If you want to deploy some new plugins in your environment, you can do that. So all those things that is related to the system administrators access, those will be listed under the admin console tab, right? If you want to restrict anything, you can do on those admin console, right? If you want to restrict the in the application that what are the documents you are going to allow to upload, you can do all those setting in your admin consoles, right? But if you are a system admin, then only you can access those. Okay. All right. So let's go and start the guys for the new application creation, right? So do any one of you have anything in your mind? What use case we should be doing that? Anyone? Am I audible?
Yeah, no, Ravi. Just one question. When you create an application, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what all does it create? In general, it creates one application and then it creates the backend database as well. Is it the placeholder of the
No, no,
database?
no. How it can create the database if you don't know what this application is about and we need to tell them. But what it creates, some basic folders, groups
Yeah. So
that
whatever the identifier is showed, the
yeah,
W5073, it probably creates some folder there.
right.
Okay.
We'll
And
see
how
that.
about
Mhm.
when? And it will also allow you to create admin and other users, is it? When you create an application.
Right, the groups.
Okay.
Right.
You're gonna teach us that as well. So you're gonna go
Yes,
through
right.
one by one, right?
Right.
Okay. And how this is like looks like you said, each site will have host applications, right? Now in any real projects, right, there will be different dev sit UAT, right? So you will create different sites for that.
Yes. Now
Okay.
everyone is using sites, right? So for each
Yeah.
application, there will be one site, more than one site. So what happens sometimes, if your application is so huge, so it's a big application where you have to differentiate between two different users group, right? So one is the end users group, one is the like editors or maybe supervisors things where they can have access to specific tabs, right? So in that case, you
Mm-hmm.
can go creating of two sites instead of one. So that is also possible. It's not like you have to restrict to the one site. You can have n sites as well.
Okay.
All right. Anyone has any use case in their mind? Okay, I think I might not be I might have not discussed this. I do, right? What kind of application we built in Appian? Did we discuss this yesterday? Can you build an IRCTC? I think yes, I did discuss, right? We can't use such use case where the millions of users will be there, right? So the in-house applications, right? So keep in mind that in-house applications, and then let me suggest if you guys have anything in your mind for our use case, learning use case. So the last one that I did is the account opening process. We were creating an accounts for existing customers. Shall you go with the customer onboarding?
Yeah, should be fine.
All right. Okay. Okay. So let's go with the customer onboarding process where we will be onboarding a new customer and we can also initiate the process of updating an existing customer. Let's say if you want to update some email address or maybe address or something, right? So they can do that, and we can in this process we can have some documents also can be uploaded as part of verification, and then it can go for an approval process where a reviewer can review that, maybe all those details that have been assigned to the that was added by the customer's information, and then if it is approved then customer will get onboarded, or maybe they may ask for some more overflow to some more document for more verifications likewise. So we will have approval process, we will have workflows, we will have different status of the customers like on hold, approved, rejected, and then we can also have email notifications, like if the customer has successfully onboarded or maybe some issues, we can send an email notification as well. Right? Yeah. Okay. We can go with the customer onboarding process. All right. So to create an application, what we need to do? First, we go and click on the new application and give the name customer onboarding process. Right. Now see the prefix, it's automatically consider the first character of each word that we have, COP. However, you do not have to do in your actual environment, but here as this is a community additions, we need to add something in our prefix so that it will be very, very unique. So I'm going to use my work ID. Okay. So I have added this work ID, right, to my prefix so that whatever object I will create, this will be get as added automatically. We don't have to add it all the time. Okay. So this is the prefix that I used. Is that clear? What's the prefix? It's not a mandatory, but it's good to have. Okay. What will happen if I try to use the existing workload, I mean prefix. So let's say I'm going to have 5073 underscore AV. So this was the prefix I already have for one application. So what it says, this application prefix is already in use. But is it restricting us to go with? No. You can still have it, but it will tell you, hey, you are trying to use this prefix, but this is already in use. Okay. Now you can put a good description of your application. So this application is to onboard new customers and maintain. Okay, right. Now Appian gives you a checkbox. To check this checkbox so that it generates some groups and folders to secure and organize the objects. What happens if you don't check this checkbox? If you don't check this checkbox, those objects will not be get created and you will have to create it manually. Now, if it has to be created, then why it's an optional thing? Because you might be creating an application just for your, as a kind of sub package where you might not need to create all those things. You already have those folders created as part of your parent application. So in that case, you don't need to, if you don't want to, you just leave it, right? So you don't need folder and all. So you can avoid it so that you can use your existing folders. But if in case of a new application, you should go and check this checkbox. So for your easiness, it will create certain objects for you. I think 7 objects for you, where it will be helpful for you to understand what, where to save these rules, where to save this expression rules, where to save the documents, what are the groups I need. So it will create those objects for you by default. Okay, so I am going to check this checkbox and then hit the create. Now, while creating this application, what Appian does is that internally it has created 2 groups. One group with the name of my prefix and administrators, my prefix and the users. The administrator should have the admin access. So what are the access we have? We have admin, editor, viewer, and deny. Right? So admin have access of everything. They can add, delete, modify, everything they can do. Editor can do all those things apart from deletion of any particular objects. Okay, and then comes viewer. Viewer is for if you want to give a user any, as an access of application to use the application, we need to put those users inside the viewers group. Okay, so this is the user name users, which will be the users who is going to use the application, and that group is having the viewer access. So to use the application, the minimum is required is the viewer. If you do not have the viewer access, you will not be able to access the application. So let's say I created an application, I have 10 employees. I want only 5 employees to use this application. I will put those 5 employees inside this users group. And then last one is called deny. Let's say if you especially want to mention this particular group should not have access of this application, then you can add those and then you can say deny. Okay, so those users will not be able to access the application. Is that clear? So once we hit save and then go to the build, these 7 items are created already for you, where you can you need to create it if it's a phrase application. So what are the 7 objects it has created? We talk about these 2 groups, that it has created 2 groups where we need to go and add the users. So let's say I'm the developer, right? So what I'm going to do, my name is already added here as a developer. So Appian has did this for me. If I want to add the users to the application where they need to access this application, then we need to add those users here. So by default, they have added the administrator and my name. And then if you want, you can also click on the add members and you can manually add more users to this group so that they can go and have the access of this application. So if I'm going to have this adding the users of these applications in this group, so they will have what role? What is the role they are going to have?
View permission.
Users.
Now, that's the name of the group. But what is the role they will have?
Whatever it was in the drop down, I think I forgot. It was something like read only, something like that.
That's a viewer.
Viewer, yes.
Right? Viewer, right? So to see the application, to take an action on the application, we need this to be assigned as a viewer role. Okay, minimum is the viewer role. Okay, we can't put the end users as a system administrator. System administrator will be few of them, right? Like business users, maybe stakeholders, maybe you know, or any other users who needs to be has a specifically a system admin access, right? So those we can have it. So these two groups got created manual automatically by the system, and then you can see the blue color folder icon. It says process model folder. All the process model that we are going to create inside the applications, we need to store those process model inside this folder. We cannot capture a process model inside any other rule folder or document folder. So what are the folders we have? We have one of the process model folder where we can go and save the process models. And then you can see it is called, all the green ones is called document folder. And within the green one, there is one more folder, right? You can see the multiple actions. That's called knowledge center. So what is a knowledge center? Knowledge center is the top repository of all the document folders. So if you get inside this knowledge center, you will see these two folders are basically part of this knowledge center. So Appian, what it does is that it also create a knowledge center for you. And inside the knowledge center, two document folders it creates for you, where if you want to create any document and store it, you can have it. You can use this application. If you want to upload any template, predefined template, you can use these document folders. If you want to upload any particular images for your specific your application, you can use this folder, right? So you can upload all those things, documents inside your document folders. And then finally, in the purple color, you can see the rule folder where you will be capturing your expression rules, your interface, your constants, all those things that we're creating for our application. We will be storing it inside the rule folder. Any question till here, guys? All the 7 objects, is that clear?
Yeah, Ravi, I have a one small question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So now this application can be accessed only by you, right? Because only you are part of the group.
Right,
Suppose like I'm also a developer who's going to
Mhm.
work on this application. How you will
Right.
add me to this application?
So I will go as a developer, right? So I need to go and put it inside the administrator group. So I go here and I add member and I'll type your name. And if you have your credentials here, it will come
Okay.
here and you can click on add.
Okay. And this administration group is not related to the admin console, right? Which you are
No, no,
explaining
no, no. This
earlier.
is specific to the application.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, okay. Got it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Any other questions for this objects? So is it like we can only create this, the one that has created by the system? No, we can also create our own folders. I can also create my own groups. Still, we can do all those things. Let's say if I want to segregate my these things into the, let's say, interface, I will create a separate rule folder for my interface, separate rule for my constant, separate rule for my expression rule. You can do that. There's no restrictions. But for your easiness, Appian says, hey, at least you need this thing for your new application. So I have created for you. That's it. Okay. You can still create some new folders, new process models, new groups. Okay. All right. So now let's say if we need to create all those things, how do we do that? So we click on the new and then we will see all those options listed here. We need to go and create. So let's talk about each one of them very quickly, just for an introduction of what these objects are, and then we can start actual development for from the next class onwards, and we'll put some tasks for that as well. So we'll see this. Okay. So the very first thing, record type. As I mentioned earlier in the last class, right? If you remember, record type is the backbone of Appian. Very strong object, very powerful object, which can do a lot of things without writing a single line of code. And we will see this example, and you will realize that how faster this Appian record is. Okay. So what it does basically, it collects the data from different maybe sources. It could be your database, it could be your third-party database, it could be your third-party API call, right? It could be your process instances, it could be your maybe let's say what to say that Salesforce data, it could be your any other data. So it can bring the data from anywhere in the world and show it to you. And it also allows you to take action on those data. It also, let's say I have a table for employees, and I connect this record, I create a new record and connect with that employee table. I can create a new employee, I can update a new employee, I can update an existing employee, and I can also delete a particular employee. So is it like it's going to have the data only from one source at a time? No. We can create, let's say I have employee table, I have maybe their address table, and I can create two different records, one for employee, one for address, and I can connect those two records in one, or maybe in either one of them, and we can have a view of data represent with us. So the same concept that we are using, creating a view, right? What we do in the view, we join two tables, right? So in Appian, we can join two records. So there might be a question, why not we create a view and then connect one record, only one record with that view? In that case, we will have only one record. Isn't that good option to hear? Instead of having two different records, let's have only one record and connect the view, right? Yes, no? Boring?
You mean the view is already created, and
Right.
we are capturing that view to the record type instead of connecting the two tables. Are
See,
you
the one of the first option is that we have two tables for sure. We have one table for employee, one table for the address. So if you
okay?
want to combine the data,
Correct.
we will have to create one record for employee, one record for address, and then we have to add the relationship in the record. So in that case, we have two records. The second option is that we can create a view itself in the table by using this joins,
Yeah.
and then create only one record
Type
pointing
for
to that view. Which option looks, good to hear, or maybe second one, right? Then why Appian is saying that don't use a views, use a record relationship? There could be some reason. Appian suggesting that not to use views, use Appian record relationship feature. See, every view is a complex query. It takes time to prepare the data internally and give it to you, right? We might not be able to see it because it's happening real fast, but it's taking a lot of time to calculate that and then give you the data. That's their own calculation time is there, right? For a view. And then when we connect a record to the view, the connection itself will take time. So there are two times is getting invoked here. One, the view itself, one, the connection from the record to the view, which will make your query slower. We might not realize it, but in behind the scene, it's happening very slower. So what happens is that instead of doing all those, if you have a huge view, then definitely it will get time out and you will not get your data. So I've been come up with this concept called adding relationship, where initially it was the view only, but it's like last 2 years, 3 years, they have come up with this concept of relationship, where we can connect this record directly to the table and get that view representation in your record. And it won't take much time because it use the cache memory to have all those data displays. So we'll talk about more on the record when we create it. But is that clear what a record type is? right? Okay. Now then we have process models. So process models, definitely we have seen one of the process models right now. We saw that, right? So it's to define the workflow of your process, how your data will look like, how your flow will proceed based on the action that you have taken. So we can design a process model which will have different smart services to complete our task, to fulfill our requirements. So we'll design a process model for that. And then we have process reports. So process reports are basically, if you want to get any Appian internal data, then we will be creating this process report so that we can build, and see that when I say internal data, it means the data is not available in our database. It's Appian internal data. Okay. And then we have robotic task and robotic pool, which we will not be creating because it's an RPA code. And then we have interfaces to design a UI. And then we have a report. So if you remember, right, we have seen this graphical representation of the data. That to display under the report tab, we will be creating a report for that. So at the end, every report is an interface. So we will be using interface only for our report. Okay. Just 1 second. Okay. All right. And then we have a sites. We talk about the sites, right? So we will be creating a site for our application. Each site specific to an application. We can have more than one, that, but we will create it. And then something we have portal. We will talk about this portal. It's kind of a site only, but with few limitations. Expression rules. Expression rules are supporting rules of our applications, creating for like maybe creating a query or maybe doing some calculations and all those things. We will create an expression rules. We'll not be touching the AI skills. AI skills is artificial intelligence things. We are not going to touch that. We'll talk about if required, but we're not touching it now. Okay, just give me a second. Sorry. Okay. And then we have decisions. So if we think, otherwise we can just see one of the example of decision, how this decision table works. We can have an example of this. If we can get a use case, then we will add this. Otherwise, we'll see the example. And then we have a constants. Constants are the objects to, as the name suggests, right? Constant. So let's say if there's something that we need to use multiple times, the same thing, then we can use a constant, and then we can refer this constant all the places to be used. So create once and use multiple times. That's the constant we use. Okay. Translation set has been added recently, a new. I can go through this and let you know. It's not like specific to an application basic development, but it does something that I will go through that and let you know. But we will definitely talk about these three, which is very important. People think it's a very high level concept, but it's in Appian. It's very easy. Connected system API and integration, just to connect with the third party and get the data and send the data. So we will be using all these three. We might not having a use case for our application, the customer onboarding, but we will see an example of how we connect and then how we can get the data back to third party or from the third party. And then we have documents. So in case if you want to upload any image, any document to the system, if you want to create anything, we will be using these document objects. And then we have groups. Groups are just like the way it has created two groups here, right? These two groups, we can also create a group. Group type kind of deprecated, but yeah, it's like specific to your application only. If you want to define a particular group type, let's say um, admin group type or user group type, or system alerts group type, right? Then you can customize that, and you can use a group of that particular group type. Okay, that you can do. Feed, you see that right now in the tempo first page, the feed was there, the news feed. You can create a news feed, and that will be listed there. And then we have folders. Folders, we have different type of folders. We have rule folders where we will be keeping off all our expression rules, interface rules, constants. And then we have process model folders. Inside this process model folder, we can keep all our process models. Then we have document folders to capture all the documents, and then knowledge center. So knowledge center, better to have only one, and inside this knowledge center, all the document folder will be the child of that. It's kind of a parent repository, and inside that you can have all different document folders. But this knowledge center cannot have process model rule folders. The knowledge center will only have document folder. Okay. So these are the objects that we will be creating for our application. Any question so far, guys, that we have discussed?
Right now, we have created this application, right? So when we
Right,
are creating, it was giving a checkbox, right?
right,
Generate groups and reports. So
right.
we saw this groups, and what is the folder created for this application where we can see that?
These are the folders you can see here. These are the folders.
Okay. So whatever the interfaces or process model we create, where
That will go inside the rule folder, inside this one.
okay. 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 So that will get automatically stored into this particular folder. Like we no need to specify the location while creating an interface
If
or
you create, by default, it will take this. If you want to change, you can change it as well.
okay.
Let's say if you want to design more folders, like segregating by the object type, like interface having different folders, constant different folders, expression in the different folders, then you have to go and specially mention which folder you want to keep it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the task for tomorrow, not asking to design and develop anything, just think about the data model to start with our customer onboarding. What are the tables we may need? Okay, so think about those and come up with that table names. May not, if you can't, maybe yeah, table name, and then what are the attribute it will have. So think about those and then share with us, so we can create a data model, and then we can proceed with the development, right? So for a better application, you should have a good data model. Changing is fine, we can do the changes, but having less changes is a very good idea, right? So designing a good data model is always a good thing to start with. Okay, any questions?
So Ravi, how many use cases are we going to work on from end to end in this course? Like how many POC?
So we will be going through one application from start to end, and then if you want, you can continue with the same one, or if you want, you can go with the some other concept with the similar one.
Okay. In that POC, we are getting a chance to use all the objects type mentioned there.
The one that we discussed, but not the AI skills and robotics.
Okay. And since we are not allowed to use that admin console, so how we are going to learn that about that section, Ravi?
See, admin console, as I said, right? It's nothing to do with the development. It's for the your site settings. You know, so there are documents are available in the admin committee, which I can give you the links. But there's nothing to do with the developments.
Okay.
All right. If there are no questions, then we can connect tomorrow and we can continue with our Appian development. We'll talk about the data models. We'll talk about some starting with the variables and all, right. We'll talk about all those things tomorrow. But if you have anything, any question, any doubts, do ping me on the WhatsApp group. I will be answering there. Okay. And before that, please sign up, register yourself on the Appian community and get your practice environment.